See, just on Celtic, Mick, I wanted to ask your opinion on the January transfer window that's coming up, because I can't remember. I mean, you guys can maybe correct me, but I can't remember a January transfer window where Celtic have almost no areas of concern, really. I mean, is that fair? I know left back long term maybe, but right in the minute, how would you strengthen Celtic?
I think they will. I mean, I think that the manager, he's not going to rest on his laurels. I think the kind of continual kind of quest to improve, even if it's gradual, I think will be there. I think there are some areas that need addressed. I think at the moment left back's not a problem. You've got Greg Taylor's contract running out. Baye's on loan to end the season. So to want to get into the last 6 months with Taylor running down a contract unsigned, a kid on loan, we don't know his future at that point in time. I don't know. Not a big issue, to be fair. I still think they could probably do with another forward, perhaps a kind of a young gun. But then again, you're not going to play ahead of Kyogo and Ida, so it's difficult to kind of get that balance. I think a wide man, maybe. I think the writing's on the wall for Lewis Palmer. I think he might be coming to an MLS team near you. I think that's his next move. I think he'll be, and I think, and you know what? I think he'll be an absolute superstar as well. Having seen the kind of expat Honduran press following about the States in the summer, was a huge supporter. He's a kind of Honduran David Beckham. I think he'll have a ball. I think for his own sake, I think he might be heading out there in January. So another wide player would be perhaps on the shopping list. I think it's not really needs and wants. I mean, still don't really need to be tooling up in January, but I think you would want to, just to kind of reinforce his position. It's not an easy window, right enough. I think the danger for Celtic is perhaps interest in some of their players as well. I mean, I think you can't take that for granted. I think there's already been a bit of chat about Nicholas Kuhn already, given the season he's had. If silly money comes in for him in January, that could be a problem for Celtic. I don't think they would sell in January anyway. I think they would sit tight. Having seen the kind of way that the Matt O'Reilly saga kind of played out over the 6 months from last year, I think they would try and resist that in January. So I don't think anyone will be allowed to go at that stage. But again, until less silly money comes in, then it forces their hand. So yeah, it could be a quiet window, but I still think they will do some kind of business. I wouldn't be surprised to see some. I mean, you've got to think even beyond for the next summer, because I think as it stands, I mean, he's talking about 107 points and that stuff. As it stands, it looks like Celtic will stroll to the title, but they could still have qualifiers in the Champions League, so they need to be ready for that as well. So I think a lot of the groundwork will be done for that perhaps now as well. So yeah, there's things going on behind the scenes, but I don't think it's not last December when you had Brendan Rodgers promising quality and almost kind of sending the kind of bat signals again out to the fans that they are trying to force the board into making some signings and all that stuff. We're not going to see that in the next few weeks, that's for sure.
No, I think you're right, Mick. I think that he'll be looking at this right now thinking, right, where can I upgrade? And I think out wide is an area, as you said, he's not convinced by Lewis Palmer and Yang. So there's two players that can pop off. I think
he's got hopes. I think he's still holding hopes out for Yang.
Yeah,
I think he thinks the kid's got something.
He's using him very sparingly.
Well, listen, he put him on against Bruges. He came on again at the weekend. I think he thinks this kid can be moulded into something.
All right, okay. And by the way, he's the guy to do it. But you're right. Even if it's just Lewis Palmer, then you can make an upgrade there, and he'll be looking at that. And Celtic wouldn't be doing their job properly if they weren't, factoring in the possibility. I'm with you. I don't think they'll do it, even if somebody does come with a big number for Nicholas Kuhn. I think they'll keep him for at least another season after this one. But they wouldn't be doing their work right if they hadn't already identified 3 or 4 wide players that are of interest to them. And there'll be a list sitting there. How many do we need? Right. Well, if we're only going to lose one in January, we'll bring the one at the top of the list, or second top, or third top. I think that's what they'll be looking at. And you're right, over the rest of the team, no point in going now and bringing in players that are just going to sit about on the bench, because we've seen the amount of quality that Celtic have got. So unless Brendan Rodgers thought he'd identified a player who would be an absolute, the Champions League starter. And Celtic have got the money to, they do have the money to make significant signings. So, but yeah, I'm kind of along mixed lines there. I think that one out, one in, and probably in the wider areas of the side in January, and that'll keep them ticking along just nicely into the summer.
If they're sitting with the kind of transfer strategy meetings and the whiteboard and all that stuff, you think if they can get a winger, a decent prospect, to a 21-year-old, right good prospect for good money in January, bring him in, give him a taste of it at the start of the season, then you could sell Kuhn next summer for 25 million quid. And that keeps up that play, the mythical player trading model that everyone is out to get, that Celtic have done really well. That would keep that ticking over. So, but that's not always possible. Listen, Celtic done it with Bernardo. Engels is seen as a replacement for O'Reilly. Maybe Bernardo was actually the one, but he was already in the building at the time, as opposed to Engels. They're not that similar. But it just keeps the wheels turning, doesn't it? And it's an insurance policy if these guys do get picked up in the end of the season.
Let me just kind of throw in a couple of comments from Celtic fans. Don't need to sell anyone in January. Desperately need a first choice striker, not a third choice one. Left back is a must, especially if KT isn't coming. Ryan Overpeck says, just need another winger or two. Be good to bed in a new striker now. I bet Kyogo leaves in the summer. Need to get Vi signed on a full time at left back or someone else to fill that role. Preferably a pair. I don't think Taylor will sign, and I doubt Bernabe is the man for the job. So it seems that the fans kind of concur with you guys. First for everything.
On a striker, I said 9.5 million striker in the summer.
I know.
Yeah.
Like you say, they did sign a striker. How on earth would he get game time?
Well, that's it. Because right now, you could never kind of rule out the prospect that somebody's going to pick up an injury, and you're only ever one injury away if you haven't have a major rethink about your numbers and the shape of the squad. But as things stand, Kyogo and Ida are sharing the load. Yeah. So if you brought in a striker, he's going to have to need probably a change of circumstance to have any real kind of pathway into the first team or in a starting place at least. And I think that's right. It's a very good point that you just make that, Mick, about the transfer fee for Adam Ida.
Yeah,
9 million. So Rangers paid £12 million for Torrey Andre Flo, remains the biggest purchase in Scottish football history. That's 24 years ago, by the way. And then after that, I think Ida might be the third most expensive player in the history of the Scottish game.
I think it might be.
Yeah, I think it must be after Engels and Flo, aye. Edward was 9 million, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But Ida could be up to 9.5 at some point if he hits his targets.
So Celtic aren't spending that level of money on a striker to say, right, well, we can relegate him to the third position.
Yeah.
That's a certainty.
Well, he looks a long-term prospect as well.